News.
Politik.
Ekonomika.
Skikka.
Geros.
مذهب.
Bunka.
Helbred. Casey.
Ambient.
Sports.
Kanker.
Rajoitus. Discriminering.
Race. Warming van de aarde. The global city.
The global city.
The global
The
city.
global city. The global city.
Local voices, international perspectives.
Hi, and welcome to the Global City. I'm Veronica Porfilio at Ryerson University in Toronto, Canada, along with my co-hosts, Ali Ventura at AUT University in Auckland, New Zealand, Dita Lilholm at the Danish School of Media and Journalism in Aarhus, Denmark, and Tariq Pierce at Rutgers University in New Jersey, United States. Ali, not only is this the first Global City show, it's the first time a worldwide show like this has ever been produced by university students.
Yeah, and the Global City is a different kind of international program. Most shows originate from a broadcaster, and any of the stories you see come via satellite. That sort of connection has always been too expensive for students to access, but we're now using new technology which lets us connect with each other over the internet without any delay. We're all journalism or broadcasting students who usually make news and current affairs stories for our local audiences.
With Global City, we're able to talk and share our ideas and stories live. You'll see stories and interviews from each country, and because we embrace our differences, you'll be introduced to narrative styles from each part of the world. We'll be looking at subjects that are interesting to people our own age, no matter what city you live in, and we'll get to see just how different and yet how similar we all are.
And that's right. Now, this is the pilot show for the Global City. Now, in upcoming shows, we're going to look at how social networking has changed the way that we consume music around the world. We'll also take a look at how some of our cities it's encouraged to bike, and in others, well, it's pretty dangerous to ride a bike. But today's show is specifically about food, more specifically about junk food. Some food that is very popular in some places, but unknown in others. Food that is in danger of disappearing from the planet as well.
But first, we're starting out here in Auckland by asking a question. Does New Zealand have a national food?
As part of a global initiative, we're here on the streets of Auckland trying to find out that perfect Kiwi authentic dish.
Fish and chips. Well, you can't beat fish and chips. My flatmates love the like Kiwi burger.
Fish and chips.
Better than curry.
Better than curry, yeah.
Fish and chips, yeah, with a bottle of LMP.
Beef Wellington.
Oh, yeah.
Fish and chips. LMP. Just don't like fish or shellfish. Fish and chips.
Pavlova. Fish and chips.
Spaghetti on toast.
Bacon strips! Yeah!
Kiwi fruit.
In the search for New Zealand's most traditional food, I decided I better look past a German wiener.
Fish and chips.
And why is that?
Because it's very easy, it's very simple.
I reckon fish and chips.
Barbecue sausages, I guess, yeah.
Fish and chips.
Pavlova.
Oh, like fish and chips. And
why do you think that?
oh, because that's what everybody has.
Fish and chips. In the fish market. See you.
Wondering, what is an LMP?
Well, I thought you might ask me that. So I actually brought a bottle along. This is LMP. It's lemon and pyro, and it's a mix between lemonade and ginger beer. It comes from Pyroa, which is a small town near where I'm from. Do you guys have a favourite national food?
Yeah, well, you can't say that we have one particular national food in Denmark, but a good example would be freshly caught crusted fillet placed on the barbecue and then served with freshly out-dug potatoes and a heavy parsley sauce. But,
well,
Tariq?
Yeah, here in New Jersey, I know we don't have a national food in America, but I mean, if you had to choose a national food, you know, we do go with the American apple pie, as they call it. And we're also sort of the king and queen of hamburger, cheeseburger here, and French fries. So I mean, if we had to choose national foods, those would probably it. What about you, Veronica?
I think over here we're definitely known for maple syrup, which goes on everything, including our famous Canadian bacon, which is just incredible. And we also have what's called poutine, which is French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. And it actually started out in Quebec. Ça va faire une maudite poutine, which means it will make a fine mess. Rumor has it, that's what the originator of poutine said about his creation. It's a unique food that started in the Canadian province of Quebec, but as Luke Nader reports, it's found its messy way to Toronto.
Poutine is one of the most scrumptious, mouth-watering, unhealthy, and puzzling foods to ever grace the nation of Canada. It's incredibly disgusting to some, but absolutely delicious to others. It's become a trademark of Canadian food culture. Poutine is a unique comfort food made up of fries, gravy, and cheese curds. Depending on the size and other add-ons, the average serving of poutine ranges from 400 to 800 calories and contains approximately 30 grams of fat. So it's bad for you, but poutine fans don't care. Smoke's Poutinerie has locations all over the province. They've figured out how to make Quebec's first junk food palatable to all kinds of tastes. Jeremy Gallant is the cook at this Smoke's Poutinerie location in downtown Toronto.
Just that it's naturally Canadian. It's our heritage food, basically. Canadians don't have that much of their own variety of food, and poutine's something that comes from home and tastes good here.
Smoke's Poutinerie has been open at this location since 2008.
We arrived here is simply because back in Montreal, where we used to live, there was amazing poutine, and it was a hard time finding a good poutine place here in Toronto. So Justin here came across this place absolutely by an accident. He was craving poutine. He got inside, tried it, was amazed by the poutine. Got me, got the guys. As you can see, we're all here trying to get our poutine, so we're really happy and we're going to come again.
Just the quality of the food, the atmosphere, the Smoke's face has become a phenomenon around Toronto. And the wow factor of, the first time they get their big, large triple pork.
Amazing, honestly. Just savor it.
Despite the common perception of poutine and its disputable nutritional value, there are such things as a relatively healthy poutine. Poutine's House of Poutine has a version with gluten-free gravy and use vegan cheese for their vegan poutine. It is certainly not the healthiest type of food, but poutine delivers on exactly what it's supposed to be, a comfort food. It's now being sold across the United States, and with the trend continually growing, it could become an international delight. But it'll always be Canadian, eh?
I don't know about you guys, but that kind of made me a little bit hungry. Dida, do you guys have anything similar to that?
I don't know if I would say that we have anything similar. I have heard of poutine though, but never tasted it. And it seems a bit odd to me because in Denmark we traditionally would want our French fries with a certain Danish dressing called remoulade, which is based on mayonnaise, curry, chopped up pickles and a lot of other stuff that might sound weird to you guys.
Interesting. Tariq, what did you think? Would you ever try a poutine? Have you ever tried a poutine?
I've never tried poutine before. After watching that, I was a little skeptical of it. I don't know if I like gravy on my French fries, but we have sort of similar, I guess. The most creative we get with French fries is putting cheese on them and melting cheese and maybe some bacon, cheese and bacon. Yeah, we've never had that. I don't know. I may try it. I heard it's in the States, so I may try it. I have to be open-minded about it, but it didn't look like something that would be a comfort food for me. What about you, Ali? Do you have anything similar?
I think I'd have to agree with you there, Tariq. It doesn't really look like my kind of comfort food. We do have chips, cheese and mayo in my small town of Whitianga, and that is fries, I guess, with mayo and cheese. But I guess that's what makes this program interesting, everyone a little bit different. But sometimes the most traditional methods are the best ways to prepare food. And it may surprise you that in New Zealand, some of the tastiest morsels have been baked in the ground. This is called a hangi. Our reporter Jordan Poati met a family who used this earthly alternative for a child's birthday party.
For Paula Tanamu's 9th birthday, instead of the usual sugar-filled party treats, she has requested a traditional Māori hangi.
We're just having a hangi for the birthday.
The Pahi Tanamu family have been up since first light, heating stones and preparing food. For them, this isn't a chore, it's a time of bonding and keeping tradition alive. Not to mention, the hard work makes the food taste that much better.
We like the original way. The cooker, just not the same, you get a different taste. The ground is the only way we've ever known how to do it.
The Pahi Tanamus have decided to take a more whānau or family-oriented approach. Everyone gets involved. Mum, Nan and the aunties in the kitchen, while Dad, Papa and the uncles do the hard labour. The kids are helping to lend a hand wherever possible.
I want my children to know how to do it the same way we can. It's how I've been brought up. When we say in our family we're going to have a hangi, that's how we have a hangi.
When steam rises from the ground and the mouth-watering smell is in the air, the family is ready to feast. After a quick karakia or prayer, it's finally time for Paula to dig in.
I like hangis because it tastes better. I like it getting cooked in the ground.
Jordan Puati for the Global City.
And while I'm not a fan of red meat, I have tried hangi before and it's a great experience. What do you guys think?
Well, Ali, this has actually made me wonder what is actually in a hangi.
Usually it's an assortment of root vegetables and some kind of meat like beef or chicken.
What kind of beef would that be?
I was a little curious because I'd never actually seen anything baked in the ground before. So like what kind of things do you actually use to bake it in the ground?
Usually there's a lot of coals at the bottom and then the food are in sort of, they're kind of in crates kind of thing, and then they're usually some kind of blanket or thing is over top of the food and then the dirt's on top and it all kind of bakes it like in an oven but just deep underground.
Oh, okay.
I've actually had before in one of the islands of Portugal, they're made of volcanic eruptions, so there's volcanoes all around, so it makes the ground really hot, so we cook it right in the ground and the volcanoes is what's cooking the food. It's exactly the same as hanging. It's interesting.
Oh wow. And so they have like
cool.
little, sort of like a little hot springs where you could bake food in the ground in Portugal, you said?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Wow, I've never seen that before. That's definitely makes the show completely interesting.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So as far as hungry goes, like can you do other things besides meat? Do you can you do like fruits and vegetables, or are there is it sort of like smoldering? Is that's sort of the idea I'm getting from it?
Yeah, it is. It's quite smouldering. So the types of food that you actually put in are usually vegetables because they cook really well. But you know, I suppose you could try fruit. It's not something I've ever seen in a hangi though.
Right.
But if you take a traditional hangi, how popular is it actually, and how long does it take to cook one?
It usually takes about a day to cook a hangi, just with the preparation and the cooking, and it is quite popular for special occasions especially. I used to have them at the marae at my school quite often.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll take a look at some of the things that we have here, like American foods like cheeseburgers and chicken fingers and French fries, for example, are all favorites here in New Jersey. Have you ever thought about fusing them together, though, into one monster sandwich packed with calories and simply calling it lunch? Well, our reporter Jason Crow is here to show you some of our New Jersey favorites, including something here at Rutgers that we call the fat sandwich. Let's check it out.
I'm Jason Crow, and in order to show what type of foods we like in America, today I'm setting out to highlight food popular or made famous in New Jersey, including the fat sandwich, blend-in ice cream, and saltwater taffy. But before I get to my entree, I'm going to make my first stop at another great place New Jersey is famous for, a diner. New Jersey is the most concentrated state in America for diners. Now, a diner is a place where you can order anything from pancakes to spaghetti and meatballs 24 hours a day. Now, I'm going to try something that's native to the Northeast region, particularly in New Jersey, pork roll. Commonly sold as an unsliced roll of pork, pork roll is cut into thin slices and cooked on a grill to be eaten as a plain side dish or used as meat for breakfast sandwiches. This food is not only a favorite to New Jersey, but it cannot be found outside of Northeastern America. This pork roll was delicious, but now we're on to our next meal, the fat sandwich. With New Jersey's favorite side dish under my belt, I was on my way to the Are You Hungry grease trucks on Rutgers campus for my entree. With countless variations, the fat sandwich is a college town favorite stuffed with American famous foods.
Steak cheeseburger, chicken finger, French fries, onion rings, ketchup, hot sauce. Okay. That's what we're gonna do.
I ordered the Fat Russian, which proudly serves French fries, onion rings, chicken fingers, cheesesteak, and a hamburger, all on one bun to make a delicious sandwich. With all this food in mind, I felt compelled to ask Ayman just how many calories are in one of these sandwiches.
Fat Darrell, which is #1 sandwich in the country by Maxim magazine, it came out to be like 1,500 calories. Wow. I know it's a lot of calories, but I mean, I think it's a fun food. You know, you gotta eat it once in a while. I won't recommend eating it every day, but you can't eat something every day. But you maybe can eat it a couple of times a week, especially if you have a good workout of the day. It's gonna give you a lot of energy.
You're gonna have to work out twice after I eat this.
Now this is a fat sandwich laid out on a plate. Most people would eat this over the course of 2 or 3 meals. But as college students, we put that into a sandwich and call it lunch.
After I ate my sandwich, I took a walk up the road to Thomas Sweet to try the New Jersey famous blend-in ice cream.
The blend-in is 7 ounces, almost double scoop of any of our flavors of ice cream, except for these 3, which you can't blend right here. And you take the flavor of ice cream and you put it in our drill, our blend mechanism, and then you pick 1, 2, or 3 candies, cookies, or frozen fruits, and then we pull this lever down, and it drills it all, makes one homogeneous ice cream.
For my blend-in, I decided to mix vanilla ice cream with frozen strawberries.
It's all fused ice cream.
Exactly. Blends it all together. There's no chunks or whole pieces in there. It's just all one. So it's like you created your own ice cream flavors.
Most people would stop after the ice cream, but to top off the day, I needed to have some saltwater taffy. Originally discovered and made in Atlantic City, saltwater taffy is still sold and distributed around the country, and Atlantic City remains the world's largest taffy distributor. So I took a trip down to Point Pleasant Beach to buy some taffy.
I'm standing here on Jenkinson's Beach with 2 forms of taffy. The original version of taffy, which was more square, and the modern version. And these are both the watermelon flavor. So I'm going to try the modern version, which is longer.
Stores like Jenkinson's Sweet Shop generally carry at least 20 flavors, or they sell taffy in packaged boxes. Stores like this also sell such popular boardwalk food as candy apples and chocolate fudge.
Most people will come to the Jersey Shore in the summertime with their family and buy saltwater taffy as a gift for relatives or friends. And for most people in New Jersey, it serves as a memory of their childhood that'll last a lifetime.
Well, after a long day of eating, I decided to get in my car and head home. Though I felt I had done enough chowing down for one day, I couldn't be more satisfied that the food I had eaten had all come from my home state, New Jersey.
So what do you guys think? All those calories in one sandwich, right? Sounds good, right?
That sounds like a heart attack.
Well, to me it actually sounds a bit familiar. I met something almost like it when I lived in Brussels for a period of time, but not in the same scale calorie-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I usually eat 1,300 calories in a day, never mind in one sandwich. That was crazy.
I thought it was interesting when they actually put it on the plate and they showed all the different things in the sandwich. Ali, you were saying something?
I was just saying that, you know, New Zealanders, they do like to put their fish and chips in their sandwich, but no, it's nothing on the same scale as that.
And so, Elise, also, can you tell us a little bit about Marmite? Because I heard some interesting things about that. Tell us exactly what Marmite is.
Sure, okay, yeah. Marmite, although it's an acquired taste, it's a yeast extract spread. There has been a bit of panic here since our Christchurch factory was damaged by an earthquake last year, and it was the only factory in New Zealand. The coach of our All Blacks team has actually come on TV telling people to calm down because it'll be back soon. But I have got my own little stash here, so I can put it on my toast every morning.
All right, that's great. Yeah. Well, Dida, you have something for us?
Yes, I do. You're watching The Global City, and we're online at globalcity.org. We're the first production in the Global City Campus Network, and as the network grows, students studying anything from fashion to engineering, photography to urban planning will be able to contribute to this show. The 4 countries co-hosting this program is each using new equipment that allows us to send video and audio live. The Dublin Institute of Technology is not able to be with us tonight, but we would have liked them to participate. So here for you we have Robert Clark from Dublin.
Oh, Joyce. Hello and welcome to Dublin's Fair City. I'm Robert Clark and we're here in DIT Angel Street, the home of 28,000 students and, more importantly, 28,000 friends. There's many things to do in our beautiful home, from walking a maiden along the banks of the Royal Canal to engaging your father-in-law in a spot of river dance. But there's one thing that we enjoy doing more than anything, and we're not shy in talking about it either.
My first time, I know it wasn't good, I'll give him that.
My first time, I don't remember it too well.
You can't really put that into words quite accurately enough.
It was kind of cheesy. It made me feel a bit ill.
My first time was outside my school with all my friends. It was warm and it gave me a really nice feeling inside.
My first time was outside Centra.
Juicy. My first thing, juicy. It was juicy, moist, but it had a bit of crunch.
My first time was pretty messy. It was about this big.
I felt kind of dirty afterwards.
My first time was a cold, quiet, dark night.
I looked like a savage pig. It was absolutely gorgeous. Once you get your mouth around it, it was grand.
At the end I was blown away by the whole thing, the whole experience.
Just flowed down my throat, delicious.
I think I just felt really comfortable and everything just fit, you know? Just worked.
My first time eating a chicken roll, it was an absolutely beautiful experience. The tenderness of the chicken, the freshness of the lettuce. Oh, it was insane. Never looked back since. Chicken fillet all the way.
Wow, well, looking at chicken fillet sandwiches, the New Jersey fat sandwich, Canadian poutine, and New Zealand fish and chips, they all have a few things in common. They're loaded with calories, inexpensive, and popular with students. And all that can lead to a phenomenon we call the Freshman 15. We'll have more about that later in the show, but now Ali's going to tell us about something very tasty and full of calories. It may not have originated in New Zealand, but it's become very popular there.
Yes, you're right, Veronica. Some traditions here in New Zealand don't need cultural roots. The kiwi pie has been around for many generations and is still as popular as ever. Here's Omir Gilroy to tell us why.
New Zealand, home to 40 million sheep, the Rugby World Cup, and the humble meat pie. Pardon?
A good pie is like a good woman. You know, you get attracted to the outside, the nice tan, golden look. Then you get into the deep, more intimate fillings, which is like the feelings and stuff.
Our heavenly treat of meat wrapped in pastry comes in almost any flavour you can think of, and Kiwis can go to great lengths to get their hands on a meat pie, especially when they're away from home.
So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get my family to send some over. So they sent some over, and I heated some up, and I gave them, my cousins and them, a pie each. They ate and they were like, ew, yuck. And then I went to sleep for like about an hour, came back, and all the pies were gone.
Pies are like everything, you know, you can have it for dinner, you can have it for lunch, you can have it for breakfast. It's very versatile, and us Kiwis, we kind of like that simplistic food, you know.
One of New Zealand's biggest competitions is the Supreme Pie Awards, held annually. 18 judges taste over 4,000 entries to find New Zealand's tastiest pie.
You learnt a lot from it, how the industry works and stuff, I guess, how competitive it is and how big pie is to New Zealanders.
A big deal for a small country, and these pies are not losing their popularity anytime soon.
You know what they say, you are what you eat, so I must be a big mess of steak and cheese pie.
Omir Gilroy for the Global City.
You're watching The Global City. I'm Tariq Pierce here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, in the United States. Joined are my co-hosts, Veronica Porfilio from Toronto, Canada, Didi Lelam over in Aarhus, Denmark, and Ali Ventura in Auckland, New Zealand.
I'm a bit of a foodie myself, so I can relate to Alan Brown, who has loved food and cooking since the tender age of 8. He's turned that love into a career, and he's in the studio today with our resident cuisine reporter, Justin Scott.
That's right. Alan is a senior lecturer at AUT University Hospitality School. He's trained and inspired young chefs with his passion for food. He is a firm believer in respecting the produce, the flavour and the freshness of food. It is a trend which is beginning to strengthen globally and is a large part of what we do in New Zealand. But Alan is also a culinary nomad, travelling up and down the country and all around the world, trying amazing food and meeting interesting people. Welcome, Alan.
Good morning.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, my first question for you today is, what is it about New Zealand's cuisine that really caught your attention?
Definitely the freshness. Very seasonal. All the chefs at the moment are all really looking for stuff that is maybe a little bit different, but very much New Zealand, sustainable, and definitely seasonal. If you go and look at the menus now at some of the very good restaurants, you'll find just the stuff that's absolute peak of its seasonal availability. So you really shouldn't be having strawberries in winter, even though you can get them out of greenhouses. You really want that natural amount of light and things like that. And also just there's a lot of heirloom stuff going out there. So I was just down, just talked to you earlier about, I was down in Arrowtown, which is one of our tourist spots, and I just had a simple salad that was all local olive oil, wild rocket, local goat's cheese, that sort of stuff. So stuff where you sort of know where the food comes from, and that's very, very important at the moment. And a lot of menus are saying that. Instead of just having New Zealand lamb, it may have Canterbury lamb, or it may actually give you the precise type, and also just things like the fish, long line caught fish, things like that. So it's very important to know where the food is sort of coming from. We never used to worry too much about that, but these days I think it's more and more important, just from a global point of view as well.
Yeah, very good. And where do we position as New Zealand on a global scale?
I think we're leading.
Yeah, we better be.
We better be.
Yeah.
We're a very small country. I think certainly our top echelon, they're up there. There's no question about that. A lot of our chefs have come back from overseas. We are a small country. I often get asked about certain things that happen, and you have to remind people that Auckland, being the biggest city in New Zealand, is still only 1.2 million or whatever it is, as opposed to New York, or where we were looking at earlier, which I was there like last year. So I think I eat enough around the world to realise that we've got some great stuff, got some great chefs, and certainly my students, I like to encourage them to go overseas, see what everyone else is doing, and just from a sort of a maturity point of view, we are almost the bottom of the world in that sense. So it's important for us to go out there and see other cultures and pick up ideas and that sort of stuff and come back. And I think also we're not so much ruled by tradition, because we're sort of very much multicultural. So therefore that sort of fusion, shall we say, we tend to lead anyway.
Yep. And now, how do you teach sustainability? Because it must be hard in a way. But how would you?
Yeah, just sort of encourage more than give certain facts. So it's things like question where your food comes from. Just checking the food. I mean, you should never accept anything unless it's up to standard, just from a restaurant point of view. So just find out where it comes from, freshness, availability. I mean, I know there's something going on worldwide to do with tuna at the moment. There is fear that we're going to lose that. Certainly, our government and our like our MAF or our who run the amounts of food and stuff will change the seasons. Like our wonderful bluff oyster, for example. It was there's only so many you can take, and then they might stop it next year. Let's give things a chance to come back.
Yeah. Now, what can we do more of in our homes when it comes to food?
Recycle. You know, I mean, most people are starting little compost heaps and stuff. Wastage is a big thing, both at home and certainly in restaurants. That and wages are your biggest costs. So look carefully at what what you're doing. Things like just wastage is huge, and use everything. Don't be frightened to put skins into things. Just make your tomato soup with the skins and the pips and everything. Don't worry about it, all that sort of stuff. But certainly, just watch what you're buying. I mean, I don't have family anymore, so therefore I just buy for the two of us. So I buy in a day. I understand big families need to buy the whole week, and of course you've got that problem of.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much, Alan, for coming into the studio. We're going to let you get back into the kitchen.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin and Alan. It's interesting to hear about the trend towards sustainable food around the world. Is that something that's been considered where you are, Dita?
Yes, that's actually been quite big in the Nordic countries for a few years now, but it sometimes results in strange combinations. The idea of using only locally produced things in some of the best Danish restaurants are encouraging chefs to be more creative. So take for instance a cucumber ice cream.
A cucumber on the plate, sugar and eggs, just based on a bit of dill.
Cucumbers and ice cream seem like an unlikely combination, but the idea of using only locally sourced produce in several of Denmark's most successful restaurants encourages them to be more creative.
The click point, as you call it, was the creation of a new Nordic kitchen, the ideas of the new Nordic kitchen.
The New Nordic Kitchen is a 10-point manifesto drawn up by a group of chefs and other food enthusiasts, including Jan Krag Jacobsen, aimed at encouraging chefs to use local produce.
So that's the dessert.
And when Klaus and I had made this manifesto, we sat down and looked at each other and said, I think we did much more than just an outline for a Nordic kitchen. On the meta level, it's a genuine plan for erecting a local kitchen anywhere in the world. And it has given place to a lot of creativity in this country, so it worked in a certain way.
Along with Jan, Klaus Meyer, the founder of the world's best restaurant Noma, helped to write the manifesto. He's one of many chefs who now enjoy celebrity status in Denmark. There are now over 25 hours a week of cooking programmes on Denmark's 3 main television channels, compared to around 14 hours in 2002. David Johansen, head chef at Kolguil, who's held a Michelin star for 3 years now, thinks that TV could be part of the reason for Denmark's success.
I think it's a part of this kind of TV phenomenon. Jamie Oliver was a big influence in Denmark, I think. We also have some Danish chef. Klaus Meyer is one of them, who's pre-owner of Noma. He has a good way to explain about food, and he was like the guy actually starting this kind of Nordic wave to use the local produce and stuff like that. I think the young Danish chef there was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's try to develop that.
So the reason that Denmark has been so successful could be purely down to the desire to become a celebrity after younger chefs saw the success of Noma. Or it could just be based on the latest trend of the New Nordic Kitchen, and everyone is jumping on the bandwagon to get their shot at glory.
I actually think that Denmark always have produced a lot of good chefs, but before it was more trendy to go out. If you were a Danish chef, many of the chefs was like traveling to France, Italy and stuff like that, and work there for a period on top level restaurants and maybe come back to Denmark. And then of course they will do like French style food. But now we have so many extremely good restaurants in Denmark and in Copenhagen especially, but all over Denmark.
Well, I don't think it's just a gimmick, but if you have a new style or new ideas coming into a cultural realm, there will be trendsetters and there will be copycats. It's a snowball effect. When young people see that there's really a field to go into with lots of possibilities and lots of fame and lots of glamour and everything, you will attract people.
Copenhagen Hospitality College attracted so many people that it had to expand at the end of 2010 and is now Northern Europe's largest vocational college and able to host up to 2,000 trainee chefs. But the students say they are not just there for the fame or glamour. Their goals are far more altruistic.
To be a good chef, bring people good food. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Give people an experience when they eat at my restaurant.
give them an experience, not just a tasting experience. But
they need to be full and happy when they leave the restaurant, and that's it. Then I'm glad. Yeah.
So not to earn many money something, just give people a very good experience when they eat at my restaurant.
This desire to simply please people could be the key to Denmark's success. However, there may be more to it than just giving customers a good dining experience.
I think that we are willing to dare. We are daredevils. We dare to go across the line, the unwritten line. So I think one of the main things is that we are very, very advanced in creating ideas, in being innovative, and of course being creative.
Something that all critics, chefs, students and restaurateurs seem to agree on is the development of the new Nordic kitchen as the catalyst for change in the Danish cooking industry, spearheaded by Noma's international success, which smaller restaurants are now trying to emulate. There's a clear cycle that is producing great Danish chefs, which started with Noma being recognised as the world's best restaurant. Now those that once aspired to be successful are the new icons for Denmark's next generation of world-class chefs.
I think that we will see way more stars than we have already. You could put a Danish chef in any area in the world and he would be able to make a remarkable restaurant.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I mean, there was some remarkable reporting there. Now, our next story is about food that is pretty common in most places in the world. It's not really that good for you, but Ditte will tell us how it's used to do good. Ditte?
Yes, thank you, Tarek. In Europe, 1 out of 5 children are considered to be less fortunate. That means that their families have difficulty sending them on vacation or even just giving them a traditional Christmas meal and a present. So the next story we'll be looking at is about a humanitarian organization in Denmark selling hot dogs to help children in need.
Tak. I julen 2011, der hjalp vi jo omkring 500 familier og 1000 børn.
The humanitarian organization Children's Office helped children both in Denmark and in European countries to have a better life.
Så kan man sige, hvad er behovet for hjælp i dag? Det er noget helt andet. Men det er at forsøge at give de børn oplevelsen af at være ligeværdige med sine kammerater. Sådan at man kan stå tilbage og sige, det gjorde jeg også, eller det fik jeg også.
The story of the organization began in 1944. The Children's Office began helping the working class children by handing out presents for Christmas and offering vacations in the summer. In 1949, they opened the first hot dog stand to help create profit.
Vi har jo ikke kun fulgt med. Vi har forsøgt at udvide hjælpen, altså i andre retninger og i større omfang. Så alt afhængig af den økonomi, vi formår at skaffe hjem hen igennem året, så deler vi stort set det hele ud igen.
In Aarhus alone, they last year spent a total of almost 500,000 Danish kroner, or 67,000 euros, on helping children.
Selling hot dogs is a very Danish tradition, and I think that's why people like to join and support it. I tell people that hot dogs is not healthy for you, so you can feel a little guilty going to eat here, but your social conscience is clear, because you make a difference for children.
Today, the Children's Office try to help out everywhere that they can, including not only poor families, but also disabled children.
Vi har vores sommerferielejr, der ligger 20 km syd for Aarhus. Der har vi lejet ud i cirka 35 til 40 uger om året.
One of the centers for disabled children that use the summer camp is Stensager Garden.
All of the children do have some mental handicap, so it's not like they go and play with other children at the streets. They need some public help to get friends and relationships.
By selling hot dogs in Aarhus, the Children's Office helps children to a better life with friends and relationships. All European countries have different traditions, but there will probably always be a way to use them to help children. But here in Denmark, hot dogs are just easier to bite into. This is Stefan Larsen in Aarhus.
The Children's Office has a quite unique way of conducting charity business for Denmark at least. So I'm wondering, Ali, is there anything similar in New Zealand?
Yeah, there is a few similar things. We have sausage sizzles, which are basically the same sort of thing. They're sausages in bread with tomato sauce on top, and that usually is for raising money for certain charities. And we also do things like cake stalls, so you all bake a cake and sell them, and the money you earn goes to schools or charities.
Yeah, besides the children's office, we don't have anything similar in that sense. Fast food is not usually something that is promoted in the Danish society, because in Denmark we have a health trend at the moment. I don't know if that's something you can recognize in Toronto or New Zealand.
Yeah, well, it's definitely starting to come like full circle. There was a whole movement toward fast food, and now there's becoming a big health conscious, and everyone's starting to become more aware of what they're eating. But it may not come as a surprise that there's a lot of students that regularly eat, hot dogs, pizza, fat sandwiches, and other things that are loaded with calories, and they usually gain weight. In North America, it's become a phenomenon that gets called the Freshman 15. Here's Daniel Kim with that story.
The Freshman 15 affects campuses all across Canada. There are a host of factors that lead to weight gain for students in their first year. Nutrition graduate Christina Christopher suggests that the phenomenon is often contributed by the lack of availability and high prices of healthy foods.
Are students getting the right amount of choices of healthy food choices versus unhealthy food choices in the school environment? So in the cafeteria, for example, or in residence, they also have cafeterias. And you just basically look at the ratio of unhealthy foods versus healthy foods. And you see a disproportional ratio, and therefore students are more likely to choose unhealthy food items compared to healthy food items.
For an average freshman, it is difficult to maintain a healthy diet and find the time to go to the gym on a daily basis. Some first years end up gaining more than 15 pounds.
I've actually experienced a freshman 20. Not sure why. Might be because I have access to food all hours of days, but I've become a bit of a fat guy.
I wouldn't say 15, but yeah, definitely I think I've gained some weight. Really, maybe like freshman 10, not freshman 15, thankfully.
And living away from home, it is often the constant access of junk and fast foods that make it so difficult to keep one's weight in check.
I think it's the caf food, honestly. Like being like a student and stuff, I'm kind of lazy and I don't cook, and since we have to buy meal plans, I have to use it up, and then I don't find the caf has the healthiest choices.
If you look at a student's budget, it's very tight, right? A good proportion goes to tuition, to school supplies, and other school-related expenses, and a small proportion goes to food expenses. And within that small proportion, students are most likely going to choose foods that cost less, and which tend to be more unhealthy compared to foods that are organic and more healthy and cost much more.
People are living on their own for the first time. They don't have their parents cooking healthy meals for them and stuff, and so they're just eating all their favorite foods and eating out a lot, and not having really the time, I guess, to devote to eating healthy foods, because it does take time if you want to like cook healthy food or even buy healthy food. It's more expensive than just eating a cheeseburger every day.
And even if students may not be physically gaining weight in their freshman years, poor eating habits and an unhealthy diet may take its toll down the road. This is Daniel Kim reporting for the Global City Project from Ryerson University, downtown Toronto.
Now, the Freshman 15 isn't something that is, particular to any different area, because we have that here as well. It's a big topic on campus over here in New Jersey. But you guys, sort of some of the bad eating habits that we develop here at Rutgers is we stay up late, and we drink energy drinks to stay up all night, and sometimes we won't eat until 4 or 5 in the afternoon, or that kind of thing. So what kind of like bad eating habits do you guys pick up at your respective universities?
Well, here in Denmark we don't really have the concept of the freshman 15. But when people move out here, they don't usually have money for fast food. It's quite expensive here. But it's a cliche to say that students in Denmark live off of pasta and ketchup, rye bread and liver pate. And that's both a result of the steep prices and also the lack of cooking skills. So Danish students gain weight as well because of really bad cooking at home.
I think here in Toronto it's a mix. It has a lot to do with fast food, but it also has a lot to do with drinking habits. Usually when people come to university, it's the first time they can start drinking. And a shot of vodka has 97 calories, plus a cup of juice is 110. So you have 15 of those in a night and it all adds up, right? How about you, Ali?
Yeah, absolutely. We also, I guess, we put on weight because we do things like stay up ridiculously late doing assignments and, you know, drinking sugary, like caffeinated drinks and coffee. And also, I don't know if you've heard, but New Zealand does have slight binge drinking culture, so that does help you put on the calories, especially at uni, as well as just not being bothered to cook and getting takeaways.
Right, I mean, and one of the worst parts is, you know, a lot of us try to get to the gym, but I mean, I'm personally one of the worst people of getting to the gym. But you know, the bad eating habits, you know, I order pizza at 12 at midnight, which is probably a bad thing to eat right before you go to bed, but you know, those are mostly the best times that I get, you know, to get some food. So, you know, I'm always running during the day, you know, in between classes, it's not really time to sit down and enjoy any food. And another thing that we have here in America is we have the small, like the canned soup, not the canned soup, the dry soup that you can pour water into, and you can actually make yourself like an instant lunch. And so a lot of people, you know, sort of do their own, you know, instant lunch by that, and that's not really healthy either. It's full of sodium and things like that. But with that being said, you guys are watching The Global City. We're a live show hosted by students in 4 countries, New Zealand, Denmark, the United States, and Canada. We're the pilot show on the Global Campus Network, an alliance of universities and colleges around the world collaborating to create all sorts of interesting programs. You can find out more about the Global Campus Network and the Global City by checking out our website at theglobalcity.org.
In this program,
we're going to throw it to Diddy.
In this program, we've been talking a lot about food from around the world. We've been talking fat food, fast food, and fascinating gourmet food. Next up is a story about a staple in diet of most cultures, but it's something that's in danger of disappearing. Right, Ali?
That's right, Dita. Because New Zealand is bordered by coastal boundaries, it's no surprise that fish is high on the local menu. Seafood is one of the country's biggest earners, but experts warn that those catching our dinner could also be killing off endangered wildlife, so I decided to find out more.
Seafood is a part of every Kiwi's diet. We're surrounded by plentiful oceans and kai moana. Fishing is a sector that brings over 1.5 billion a year in exports for New Zealand and employs over 7,000 people. But the deep-sea trawling that catches that great piece of hoki may be having damaging effects on our oceans and endangering marine life, say experts.
Deep-sea trawling is a process for commercial fishing. It's where they'll take very large nets and they drag them across the bottom of the ocean. Unfortunately, they also happen to catch other species, many of which are endangered.
MAF said in a statement today that New Zealand has benthic protection areas which close off 30% of our seabed from bottom trawling.
The problem with having marine protected areas is that you can't guarantee that the animals know that there is an area of protection. So they'll go to a different place, and as soon as they leave the area where they are protected, they can still end up in commercial fishing nets.
Our fishing area is the 6th largest zone in the world and is 14 times the land area of New Zealand. Experts like Braid say that unless more is done, in 40 years our ocean could be empty.
MAF Chief Scientist Pamela Mace said to us today that although they are aware of the issue of bycatch endangering certain species, they can't always control independent fishermen and companies.
There have been attempts to fix the problem. The Deep Deep Trouble campaign and Greenpeace New Zealand is actively against the practice. Researchers hope to get the issue into debate so that fish and chips on the beach does not become a thing of the past. Alexandra Ventura for Global City.
As New Zealand, Denmark is surrounded by water and our fisheries has the same challenges. But here the real danger is that we are letting go of our traditional cuisine. Danish traditional food is heavy farmers' food and takes a long time to prepare. And in an average family these days, both parents are working and simply don't prioritize the time. The consequence of this is that the traditional Danish food is only prepared for special holidays. And I'm wondering, does it look like that in Canada as well, Veronica?
Well, here in Toronto, our national foods are what's being made, and they're not probably the healthiest choices. But I think because we're very multicultural here, we're finding that issue within, certain cultures. So, like, my background is Portuguese and Italian, but usually we only cook Portuguese or Italian cooking during Easter and Christmas and holidays like that. What about you in New Jersey, Tariq?
Well, again, we're also very multicultural here as well. So, you know, you find yourself enjoying a bunch of different, you know, types of foods and things like that. But I mean, fishing is also part of our culture. But we get a lot of, you know, when we had the BP Gulf spill a few years ago, you know, there was an endangered, you know, shrimp were endangered and things like that. You know, all the foods from the bayou that we get. So, you know, we do, you know, we have some of the sort of the same issues and things like that as well. What about, what else is going on up in there in Toronto, Veronica?
You know, I don't really hear too much about anything that's in danger right now, so I assume everything I eat is okay.
Okay.
But that's actually bringing us to the end of the first Global City show. Coming up on our next edition of the Global City, we'll look at how social networking has changed the way we consume music around the world and changed the way musicians market themselves to a global audience. You can watch that show on theglobalcity.org on April 30th. So it's been a real pleasure for me to be here with all of you hosts and hearing all the different accents and learning about your foods. Any final thoughts from you, Dida?
Yeah, well, it's been really exciting exploring food from all over the world with you guys, but personally now I'm looking forward to the next show where we're looking into traveling. Because in Denmark, cycling is the national kind of transportation and sort of a sport. And I'm looking forward to see if it's the same in your places.
Definitely.
How about you, Tariq?
Yeah, it was great, you know, hosting with you guys today, you know, talking about the different foods. I definitely learned a lot of different things. I'm also looking forward to the next show as well. We're going to get the chance to, you know, talk about how we, you know, use transportation here. We have a lot of different forms of transportation, and our reporters are going to take you guys around. We're also going to talk about music and, you know, profile some of the artists and independent artists over here at Rutgers. So it should be exciting. I'm also looking forward to dinner tonight. So how about you, Ellie?
Yeah, it's been a really fun experience doing this with you guys, and I must say I'm really interested in all the cultures you've done. Probably won't try poutine anytime soon, but maybe some of the other ones. But it's been great, and I'd love to meet you guys sometime.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Likewise here.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to trying all kinds of new foods tonight. And we've been broadcasting on the Global Campus Network, an alliance of universities around the world. Bye for now.
Bye.